On today's video, we'll look in this scenario in which Iran forms an empire. And well, I made a video of Iran forming an empire before and stretched all the way into Africa, the Middle East, Asia. Yep, but Asia, that makes sense, because it is in Asia. And well, the first two countries they go after are Iran and Armenia. Why Azerbaijan and Armenia? Because, well, they're easy to invade, I guess. Because they're not going to work together. So they'll be easy to invade, figures Iran, the empire. Even though this is the second time I'm making them an empire. But don't worry, they can make an empire 1,000,000 times. They probably would, if they could. If they could do this, I'm sure. If countries could just invade and take over other countries still, and that was okay, I'm sure they would. Like countries like China and Russia would, for sure. The US would probably just do its same kind of conquest, making everybody its friend, and then the kind of conquest Iran might do might be some minor territorial changes. With them now stretching even further north, they decide to go after Turkmenistan this time. The North Korea of the Central Asia is what they call it. And I forget what the capital is called. It's not really great. Let's just invade it. All I know is that's pretty cool looking. Well, Turkmenistan never got... Well, that's what they said. But we all know it's Turkmenistan. And Turkmenistan isn't the most honest country. Well, is any country actually honest? Probably not. But let's just keep thinking that there are good countries and bad countries. With them invading Afghanistan, but this time, when empires are going to end, they invade them. But they're just starting. They're going to be like the Mughal Empire. They're just going to cakewalk it. Didn't the Persia have this piece of land, like the Persian Empire at one point? Or Achaemenid? Well, I know a few empires have. It's just that some empires are built to take over Afghanistan and some aren't. Wonder, could China take over Afghanistan? I mean, they border it, so they could probably launch a fair offensive. And so they annex Azerbaijan. Who wouldn't, though? Why did I call Afghanistan Azerbaijan? What is going on? Yeah, I probably shouldn't be calling countries a name that they aren't. But I keep doing it anyways. And they invade Iraq. Well, who doesn't like invading Iraq? As the second Iran-Iraq war breaks out. But this time, well, Iran invades better. They invade them first this time. And they manage to take the capital, Baghdad. And as they do this, they make the country surrender to their might. And their might is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. With them forcing Lebanon and Syria to join them. They both say no. And guess what? No wasn't an answer. According to Iran, no, you can't say no. As Syria falls and then Lebanon falls. And, well, they're annexed into the Iranian Empire. Why are we making Iran an empire? Because I haven't done it since 2023. Let's be honest. Doing the cool countries making empires. Like, some countries are made to make empires. Like Pakistan, India, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Greece, Bulgaria, Ukraine, Russia, Finland, Sweden, Norway, Germany, Poland, France, Britain, Spain, the USA, Brazil, Japan, and South Korea, along with South Africa, Egypt, Morocco, Ethiopia, and yeah, that's pretty much all. What's the point of being strong if you're not making an empire? What's the point of having a military if you're not using it to make an empire? Well, I mean, I guess an empire isn't the same as it used to be. An empire used to be land, but now it's money. Well, they invade Kuwait. Who invades Kuwait? Like, literally. And Saudi Arabia gets mad at Iran. Why not? Because they're enemies. Well, not really, but kind of. But kind of not, but kind of are. If that makes sense. They're like enemies most of the time. But when it comes to one country in particular, well, they both are friends. when it comes to that country. Everyone in the Middle East is friends when it comes to that one country. Except Iran launches a massive counteroffensive, wiping Saudi's forces right out. Literally. And they start an invasion here to get around the Saudi troops occupying. And well, they move in and take Riyadh, the capital. And with them taking Riyadh, they've took over like desert upon desert upon desert. And now move into Kuwait, kicking Saudi Arabia out of a bunch of its oil. And well, you might think Saudi Arabia, this couldn't happen, but it probably could. I think one is stronger than the other. Well, Iran might have something that's hiding from us, but let's hope not. With them moving in, and at this point, Saudi Arabia is willing to a peace treaty. So let's see the peace treaty. Using the majority of its northern coast, its Persian Gulf coast, and Western Gulf. That's a pretty unfair treaty. And we'll now do invade Uzbekistan, but this time the Stans aren't having this. Yeah, really. And all the Stans declare war, because for some reason there's Stan Union. And guess what? Turkey doesn't want any more Turkic countries being invaded. They're just fed up about it. So they start invading the Iranian Empire. And the Iranian Empire has got itself in a two-way war. In real life, they would crumble. Oh wait, they'd already be crumbled. By the time they took Kuwait over, somebody would be marching in. With them starting to march into where they were planning, into Uzbekistan, which this part of the front, they don't really have problem. But on top of that, they invade some areas over here. But since they declared war, well, they're in a bit of trouble. Kazakhstan's going to push them back here, and so is Kyrgyzstan. But where Kyrgyzstan is pushing back isn't as bad as where Kazakhstan is. With the offensive in Uzbekistan managing to gain something as it moves up to here. And well, Kazakhstan needs to retreat from there as they fare encirclement, and they start a new offensive, which is a counter-offensive to push them back. But due to these countries not being the strongest, and once Iran is fully ready to invade all four of them, it won't be a big deal. With Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan already in a stalemate, and well, Kazakhstan's getting kicked out as they start getting pushed into their territory as Uzbekistan starts falling. And Turkey's offensive in the west, like the Western Front, isn't good. And well, they're taking more land. But the thing is, at this point, Kazakhstan starts fumbling and crumbling on the front line, with massive protests probably breaking out across their country, with many fearing they'll be next. With this massive offensive yielding results that gets faster and more efficient as it starts pushing into Kazakhstan deep. Kazakhstan at this point decides to surrender, which basically guarantees the fall of these countries. And well, Turkey's in a bit of trouble because they didn't get far like they were hoping to. Well, now their Central Asia friends are gone. So, well, Turkey's switching front. So Iran is coming to their front. So Turkey decides a quick offensive towards, well, Tehran is their best move as they encircle and manage to even take the city. The good thing the Iranian government fled to Baku somehow. And well, the army starts pushing them back. And with Turkey being pretty tired from this long war, which didn't really yield anything, the Turkish people don't really approve of this war. And well, they start crumbling in the dark. And well, there's nothing they can really do as they get pushed out of their last offensive. And with their troops very demoralized, some are just surrendering. Some armies are just surrendering without a fight. And well, they move up and they take Ankara, And after the fall of Ankara, they surrender. And now expand its empire into eastern Anatolia, big chunks of Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, all of Tajikistan, and parts of Kyrgyzstan. And well, now they decide a new war is good. The Pakistan War. Which probably will go well. I don't know how Pakistan's so strong, though. I think it's the 11th strongest country. I mean, maybe. Or 12th. Maybe Brazil's the 11th and they're 12th. Well, they do this as they start moving in. Pakistan manages to launch a counteroffensive over here and over there, but it doesn't really yield them much as a marching Iranian empires take their two major cities in this offensive. And Pakistan is forced to surrender. India is probably happy about this. But let's see the peace treaty. Oman, the UAE, and Qatar at the same time. That is a good idea, I guess, for them. And well, this war goes pretty smooth as they start taking it over. As they start moving their forces into this area, Jordan and Israel start border skirmishes with Iran. And eventually, Oman falls, and they're told, do not annex any part of them and let them free. Came out of Israel, with Israel declaring war, basically. And Iran just walking through everything in its way. Wait, no, they don't need them. They can leave Cyprus free. Cyprus is okay to remain free, as these two countries thought their border skirmishes would go unmet with anything, with them invading like lands like here and here and here. They thought these border skirmishes wouldn't do anything harmful to them, but now they're getting invaded by the Turkish Empire. Not Turkish Empire, the Iranian Empire. Well, the Iranian Empire does not stop. And well, let's see the peace treaty of Egypt happening, with them being told by the Russians to back down, or they will go to war with them. And the good thing is they only border on one front. Iran continues marching into Cairo, taking over the Suez Canal. Russia cannot handle them not listening to them. And Russia declares war, even though I didn't drop color in all the islands in Kaliningrad. Sometimes I actually forget to color in Kaliningrad. Like, that just tells you about how Kaliningrad used to be German land, I mean, until they did German things, and Russia took it. Russia's getting ready for its offensive. Egypt's about to surrender. And there's no signs that Iran will back down. Keep mixing up Iran and Turkey. And well, Egypt surrenders. But this is where Russia's offensive begins and commences. And yeah, they may have puppeted that nation during this video at some point. Or forced them on their side. With Iran being pushed back and now getting pushed back towards their capital. With Russia demanding they pull out of Egypt, Oman, Israel, Qatar, UAE, and Saudi land. But they refuse to negotiate and give Russia some land. So they get pushed right back. Although then they make another counteroffensive, but to very little result. With Baku being taken back. And well, Russia is finally kicked out. And with some revolts happening in this area of Russia. Pro-Iranian revolt for joining the Iranian Empire show up around Chechnya and Dagestan. They want to join the Iranian Empire, as Iran merges right through Georgia. And these revolts help them. And they take over Crimea, taking Sevastopol. They take the coast, and well, they take Rostov, and then they take Volgorod. In a fast offensive, and Russia decides to negotiate for peace. Let's see the peace treaty. Africa to southern Asia. From Europe to the bottom of the Middle East. Because parts of the land, like right here, is Europe. And into Central Asia, the Middle East. And they dominate the Persian Gulf and the Suez Canal. And that's pretty much all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Wild Mapper out, but not until you subscribe. Why should you subscribe so we can get to 3,000 subscribers by December 25th? Bye, guys!